You're tuning in to Past Our Prime,
a show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
Is that me dinging?
Someone was dinging.
I'm quitting, whatever it was that dinged.
Turn the sound off.
Sounds off.
Sounds off? All right. All right. Episode 51.
One more.
Welcome to the program. Next week will be the year anniversary where it's official. We still have our jobs after 1 year, which is good.
It's a big accomplishment.
It is.
A lot of I read a thing on podcasts. Most of them go 8 to 10 episodes. Did you know that, Max?
I didn't.
And most of them have less than 10 reviews.
You would think a producer would know that stat.
Yeah, Max does not know.
Just a regular producer would know that.
Yeah.
Not a super producer.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So, yeah, we're almost there.
Hope everybody had a happy Turkey Day. I did.
Boy, how many smash sandwiches did you eat?
I have a huge bowl still at home.
Still?
Still.
Oh, we just ran out.
Huge.
We just ran out.
I had to go to a hockey tournament as well after the weekend, which didn't help the eating situation going on.
But you also weren't home to devour all the food.
That's why it's probably still there.
Yeah, got it. So, I mean, the kids loved it. By the way, this is thanks to you. This is your recipe.
The kids liked it too?
Kids loved it more than anything.
It's fantastic.
You take not even the potato rolls, like just a regular finger roll sandwich.
Whatever you want to do.
Put it
whatever kind of bread. I'm not even doing the bread now.
Just going to eat it like chicken salad?
If I get up in the morning, I'll just take the bowl out of the fridge.
Just have a scoop?
I just have a fork, and I'm eating it cold, too. It's still delicious.
It is good.
It's all the flavors of the holiday mashed into one.
We did differ, though. I put the cranberry in.
Yeah, you did. I didn't tell you to do that.
Let me tell you what, though. It was good.
I believe
it was very good. It gave it a little sweetness.
I'll keep it separate, but I will put the cranberry on the bread as well. So it's in there. It's just not mixed in. Maybe I'll try and mix it in next year.
Yeah.
Might as well. We also had bets last weekend.
This is an episode full of losses for me.
This is phenomenal. Are you all right? So,
and I'm really hoping McKeller shows up so he can put me in a good mood.
Let's November Miles Challenge, right? It was 20 hours total during the month of November. That is the time allowed.
Okay, time out. Can I start with this, or can I start with this?
As long as it ends in a concession, go for it.
I'm conceding.
Yes! Yes!
We only have one night left, and tell you what, I should have gone harder to start the month. That's what I learned. I didn't hit the 5 hours the first couple of weeks. That's what hurt. Because this second half, I've been riding hard. I've been doing some good rides. You've seen my stats. They're good. I got a lot of people challenging me all over the place. I was at Quinnesset. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm the best rider in the world." I'm like, okay. Let's put a mortgage payment on it.
Sure.
Let's put next year's dues on it.
You know what? There's one guy at Quinnesset that would just completely own you, though. Ralph would outspin you.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Day of the week
Something would happen where Ralph just beat me. All of a sudden, nobody knows, but Ralph is like a professional bike cyclist, and he just gets on and just kills me.
All he does is beat Tip in golf and spin.
That's it. And
you are conceding. Is it official?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to catch you tonight. Now, so you win, so I'm going to do a pound class, which is, are you going to do it with me?
I probably will. You know why?
Yeah.
You know why?
All right,
you know why? Because I don't feel like this was a win for me.
Really?
I don't.
You did it. You rode hard.
Because I completely dominated you.
No, you didn't. You beat me by 60 miles. You beat me by 200 on the other one.
Did you look? All right. Okay. Did you look? No, we're almost up to 90 miles already.
Okay. Well, if I rode tonight, it would be back down to 70, right? So then, yeah. I mean, you beat me by you beat me by
in 1 month.
You beat me going here to Boston.
In 1 month, I beat you by 70 miles.
Yeah, you're here to Boston.
I feel like I just came out. And there's a strategy, right? There's got to be a game plan.
Okay.
And my game plan was, and I talked to Max early on.
You didn't tell me anything.
Oh, hell no. No,
what was your strategy?
I was going to go hard early, right, Max?
Yep.
See, I was thinking going hard late.
I was going hard early and setting the pace, and then I could just, once we get halfway, then it would be just like, okay, now I'm going to see what you did, and I'm just going to go above you a little bit so I could just like coast.
Yeah, because that's what you started to do.
Yeah.
a lot of the rides I did, you would do the same ride and you would either just match or just beat it a little bit because then I was never making up any ground.
Never.
I did kill you on one 30-minute ride, though. I PR'd on that 30.
Yeah, but
583. That's a serious ride.
Did I do the ride?
You should try it.
I'll try the ride.
Okay.
I mean,
it was a good ride. Metal ride. Kendall metal ride.
You PR'd, but I was like halfway into the competition, and I was pushing myself early on.
You were.
So
hey,
maybe my legs weren't involved, but I really don't, because I feel like I left some minutes out on the table. I think I have an hour and 40 that I could do still to really pile on the miles.
Yep.
And you have a shit ton.
No,
of minutes
I only
left.
have less than 5 hours. 4 hours left?
5 hours. See, I mean,
so technically I could go home and maybe I'm not conceding.
Yes, I won.
Okay.
But I feel like it really wasn't a challenge.
Okay, all right.
I feel
Keep
like
talking shit.
I feel like I came out and just absolutely
So a
fucking
December
dominated
challenge.
you.
December challenge starts tomorrow. No, we got to do pound class, and then I did hear. If anybody,
technically, I can't go in December. I got to take a week off.
That's true. You do. We'll talk about that next week.
I have a elective procedure going on Thursday where I'm not going to be able to sit on a bike seat for a week.
Yeah, and somehow I'm the one that's.
You guys figure out what it is.
Yeah. So also classic story here. Before we do talk about that next episode, our calendars here. We have a great executive assistant. Named Amelia, who handles a lot of scheduling, kind of coordinating of meetings, like just a perfect person to have in the office to help keep you organized. I have on my calendar, she has visibility to my calendar so she can see not just that it's blocked, but what it is, right?
Yeah,
so I have my calendar blocked off for Dan on Thursday morning.
Somebody needs a ride.
Going to get a coffee, and my calendar says the subject line is ball sack. Fell over. So that's on my calendar. So Amelia sends me a message. She's like, hey, I'm trying to schedule you for 9:30 on Thursday, but it looks like you have something that's stopping you.
It's a full day event, people.
And I was like, sorry about that. So I did change it to a doctor's appointment. So, but I'm the chauffeur.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's not going to take that long. You should be able to make your 9:30 memeeting.
We'll see if we make it. We might have to go out.
If you don't make it, something went horribly wrong.
That's not good. This might be the last episode, Max.
This might be
This could be the last episode. This might be it.
This might be the last. It might be the last miles challenge.
It might be the last. A lot of things right now. So anyway, we'll let the people wonder what that is.
And you also owe me $100.
Are you $100? So I got to do a pound class.
You went 1
so
for 6.
So I lost in the pound class. That sucks. I went 1 for 6. By the way, though, with my actual betting, the one game that I won, which was the under in the Bears-Lions game, when I actually submitted the bets, I took the over because last minute I was like, I'm taking the over. I went 0 for 6.
Did you go all 6?
0 for 6.
All right.
0 for 6 on Thanksgiving.
So Tip betting with his heart.
No, I was actually betting with my head on this one.
Right, you're right. There's no heart on that one because there's nothing. Actually, I think the Saints pick was a heart pick.
No, I just
wanted the Bills to lose.
I know, but I thought the Bills might actually really stumble, and I was dead wrong.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do going forward. I went 4 for 6, which is pretty good. I mean,
it's good bets.
The Cowboys just absolutely sucked it off there, which isn't shocking. But I went 4 for 6. You went 1 for 6. 100 goes to me, and we will next week. Max, you're gonna pick out 3 games. Right, you'll give it to us maybe on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, maybe
Tuesday morning, and we're going to do this every week.
We could just post them on the Instagram too. We could do a post on the Instagram like tomorrow. Like you could just give us the games for this week.
We're going to do another 3.
Post them.
All right, we're going to do another 3 every week
before the Thursday game.
We're going to do the line, and then we're going to do the over/under.
3, and we'll pick 3 games.
3 games.
Okay,
I
like this.
Both the line.
So there's always
and
6.
the over/under.
There's always 6 things
always
to bet
6
on.
bets.
Okay, this is good. I like this. This will be fun.
And then we could do either between us $100 each week, or we can go cumulative the rest of the season. So you have to decide what you want to lose to.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm very excited to do this. We do have I have missed calls, text messages. The world. I mean, I knew this would happen. McKellar's called me 3 times. Is he on there, Max? He's saying I've joined. I think so. We do have the one and only Ryan McKeller coming up, and I'm excited to talk to him. I feel like the interview might shift hands. I feel like he might be interviewing us.
I have no idea what's going to go on. I don't know him. I've actually tried to look him up, and there's nothing to look up.
Dan wanted to do some research on McKeller, and I said, no. You're not going to find much. You found one or two things that you wrote down.
I think I found his draft position,
which will be funny if you bring that up.
Absolutely.
And then that's it.
That's in the introduction.
Okay.
I think you should cover that.
I think he's ready to. Oh, you want me to do it? I'll do it on the intro. We'll get him good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
And I have no idea what's coming up here. So I may just be the passenger.
Oh, you're passengering it, and he is going to be in rare form as my guest. So Max is working on pulling it up right now. So here we go to Ryan McKeller.
What's up, dude?
I haven't seen your face in a long time.
I know. Oh my God. So many emotions right now.
I know. I'm actually getting a little bit nerved up with you in front of me right now. I feel
Dude,
so.
Do you feel like you want to bust one out?
I do want to bust one out.
Hey, Dan, you got to be like kind of tired of Tip just bringing in his buddies all the time.
No, it's actually kind of fun. It's one of the two, baseball or Maine.
Oh, here we go. He said timeout. What's he have?
Oh, fuck.
What are you in, a mansion or something? You have a mansion? No, he really had to go run somewhere.
Oh, Jesus.
What's he bringing?
All right.
Like a background? Or?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
drink.
Right.
Oh, okay, good. Nice. Okay.
Got my notebook.
Oh, perfect. Kid, are you in a
see me
mansion?
okay?
Yeah, do you live in a mansion now? Where do you live?
I wouldn't call it a mansion. You want me to give you the tour?
Oh, I mean, we can do cribs later. I mean, it looks like you're in a nice setup, though. You got a tree over there.
Well, I was by my pool, but the lighting was bad, so I came to the pool room.
I like it. I like it. Look at you. You're so grown up now. I miss you.
I know. I'm like an adult, dude. It's weird.
Yeah. So for
you know how I feel?
Oh,
I feel like Tip Fairchild when he would come into the locker room and he would sit like this. And he would go. What would you go through like the Wall Street Journal? All right, what are you reading right now?
You know what's hilarious?
Just the stocks.
You know why? Because he knew his career wasn't going to last that long.
Yeah.
He ended up having a fallback.
Smart. Hey, you know what's funny is when you started to say when I would sit like that, I thought you were going to tell the story about how I could pull my right nut up. Do you remember?
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. Let me write that one down.
No, I mean, we're recording right now, so, I mean, technically it's already out there. So, that was, remember the fishing pole? Like, I would just do the fishing pole.
Oh, yeah.
Wheel it right up.
I forgot to write. So, we got to talk about Anglebrook at some point.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
All right.
So, for the listeners out there, this is the one and the only Ryan McKeller.
Can you see me okay?
Oh, yeah, we can see you. We see you beautifully. Yeah. So, a little backstory here. Ryan, this is Dan, right? So you got Dan.
Hi, Ryan. McKeller or Ryan or
McKeller.
Whatever you want. I've had like 20 different nicknames. McKeller is fine. I call Tip Kid. I mean, just call me Kid. You know?
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
just one of the kids. I'm a kid.
Well, kid's a baseball term, right?
Kid's a baseball term, but he calls me
I
Kid.
think it was a Maine term.
It might be, but he actually said he didn't know your first name, actually.
No, yeah, I mean, I never called you Ryan in my life.
It's always been McKeller or Kid
or Tet.
That's or boy.
Yeah, Toy. I don't know how to say it. That was a Sergio thing. Yeah,
careful. You might upset Sergio.
Sergio.
Yeah. So I don't know how to do it.
It's fine. Wait, what are you drinking? You guys drinking beer?
We grabbed a winter lager because you said you were going to get a bourbon, so we're fired up with you. Okay,
let's do it.
Okay, so
I know that I don't want to turn it into me right now, but let me say something real quick, Dan. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I watched a lot of your podcasts with Tip there, and I feel like we know each other already.
That's fantastic.
That's nice.
That's
right?
good.
That's nice to hear.
How many interviews have you done since you've moved on from your career? Is this the first one?
Might have been the first one since you had a career too.
Let's see here. I can count.
You seem way too excited to be on here right now.
During my career saying after my career, I've had a total of 1, and this is it.
Fantastic. Okay, beautiful. So, and then we got Max behind the mic. He's hiding over there in case, we need him.
Producer.
Yes, the producer Max. He's ready. So,
is
Ryan,
my mic too loud? I tend to yell.
You sound great.
Sound like butter.
You sound clean. This is going to be amazing. So, to the listeners, Ryan McKeller. Ryan was my roommate my first year playing pro ball. And I would consider just one of my genuine buddies who, if you are ever in a problem, it's one of the first numbers that you give a phone call to. Is that accurate, kid?
That means a lot. Actually, you know what? I was going to say the same thing about you.
Oh, see?
Roommates where we started? New York?
We started in Tri-City. And then as you can see, big, tall redhead with a beard. I got to think for the redheads with a beard.
Hey, there's not enough of us.
Yeah. But you're a dying breed. And you're what, McKeller? You're what, 6'6"? Are you 6'6"?
6'5", like 250.
Okay, yeah, and I've noticed your body just morph through changes in the last few years watching you on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, you went through this phase where all of a sudden I think all you lifted was arms?
Well, yeah, it's funny that you brought that up because as soon as baseball's over, and you know what kind of workout we typically have as baseball players or as pitchers specifically is tree trunk legs and just noodle arms. You know what I mean? And as soon as I went back to college and I had the gym there, I went to Texas State. And, I was there for probably hours at a time because I would drive from my house an hour to get there and then an hour home. So I was kind of stuck there during the day. And in between classes, I'd go in the gym, obviously, because there's a ton of hot college babes. But that's all I worked on. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this pitcher body. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be like big, strong arm guy.
I like that.
I don't think I've worked out legs in 10 years.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, welcome to the club.
That's complete opposite of what you are right now.
All I've been doing is the Peloton legs. But I lift.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to lift, I'm just
the
give me 30
pounds. The last time you lifted
pounds.
Upper body, you hurt your elbow again.
I did. My elbow was killing me a few weeks ago. It's going to come back.
Your elbow's always been hurt, though.
No, but it never did hurt until I hurt it. So it was primo. But yeah, I hurt the right elbow's bugging me a little bit, but it'll come back. It'll bounce back. I'm the same boat as him though, and I do want to lift. I just want to grab weights and do curls.
No, nobody wants to do squats.
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 Yeah, the number one vein to see is that one right here.
What are they called? The things where you just lift weight. It's like the most manly exercise there is.
Squats? What are you talking? Oh, deadlifts. Deadlifts. Okay.
Deadlifts.
All right.
That's about it.
So you decided that you were just going to go say, hey, no more legs. I just want to start getting swollen up top.
Why would I want to look like a pitcher when you can look like, like an offensive tackle like Dan?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess you're right.
That's true.
Very much right. Yeah.
I don't think people go for that look, though. I mean, nowadays it's changed. Now they're like 10% body fat. When I played, it was
those
the
guys
opposite.
Are beasts.
No,
those guys are amazing.
They are.
I feel like those are some of the most athletic guys on the field.
They are, and shit. When I retired, I think we had Solder at like 6'9". 315, 320, and then Vollmer was 6'8".
The Patriots offensive line is, I've always told everyone that I don't think it gets enough credit. Those guys are just a steel wall.
Really, we really were.
Steel wall.
Steel wall.
Yeah, see that? I mean, you're getting, look at these compliments you're getting from McKeller already.
He thought
I'm a big
he has
Tom Brady
questions.
fan. So if you want to talk about Patriots, let's do it at some point.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming because I know you have questions regarding that. I
love Tom Brady.
Were you always a Pats fan, or did Brady turn you?
Brady turned me. I don't give a shit about the Patriots. Now I'm a Bucks fan.
Oh, it's just the player. Just the player.
He follows the player.
Do you have a team, though?
Yeah, Tom Brady. Well, we call him something else in my house. We call him BDB.
Yeah? What's that mean?
Big Dick Brady.
Okay, perfect.
I thought that was Foles.
No, that was Big Dick Nick. That's right, BDB. I like that. Nick. Yeah. So I mean, when we were in Tri-City, so I'm a naive young kid. I get drafted, and I'm from Maine. I have no clue what's going on. I hear about this guy coming down from a different level to Tri-City, who's already been playing for a year or two now, probably, right?
Yeah. So I was drafted when I was 18, and I went immediately to rookie ball. I had 1 year of junior college under my belt, and I went to rookie ball. And the first team, man, have you ever thought about writing a book?
So the book that I would write is called Stories from Stretch.
That's a good one.
I know, but
Hey,
I wouldn't want to out everybody
Gospel?
though. No, I haven't.
It's good. It's a good book. It's an easy read. It's really fun. But anyway, sorry, Dan, I got to warn you, I have hardcore ADD, so this is going to be all over the place.
That's all right. Hopefully you're medicated today. We'll get through it.
Yeah, he'll get through it.
What was it like though when you were picked in the 45th round with the 1,355th pick?
Oh,
What were the emotions?
Stan's been waiting to say that to you for 2 weeks.
This is actually
That's
a really
the only
good
thing I
story.
could find on you.
So I was this squirrely kid in high school, and I didn't make my freshman or sophomore baseball team. I got cut. And then my junior year, I made the JV team as a pitcher only. There was this new pitching coach, and he was like, I want that kid to stay on JV because he looks like he may be good someday. So my senior year rolls around, and I grew like 6 inches and gained like 20 pounds. And all of a sudden, I'm like the hardest thrower in the high school. And I still wasn't the best pitcher on the team, but they would run me out there a lot as on my varsity team as a senior. And I started to get a little bit of attention from scouts that were there looking at other players on the other teams. And lo and behold, like I was summertime and I was like out with friends or something. And my dad called me and he was like, "Hey, you got drafted today." And I had no fucking idea what that meant. And I was just like, I was like, "Cool, Dad, I gotta go."
Which war are we going into?
Nothing to me.
Yeah. You thought you were going to the army or something.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds great. Okay. And then that was about it. But after that, the scout showed up at my door and he was like, "Hey, we're going to give you like, $5,000, but we'll pay for your full college tuition." And I didn't grow up wealthy at all. My parents didn't have money for college. So I was like, "Dude, sign me up." So that's basically why I signed, thinking that I was going to go in and play for 1 year and get my full college paid for. So that was my intention. And, I ended up playing for 10 years. So it was a surprise to me, like big surprise for me. But like I said, I grew up with pretty low self-esteem. So I wasn't the guy that walked in there like Tip. Like Tip is kind of the opposite, which I loved about him. It was probably my favorite thing about him.
A little too much.
He walked in there and he was like, I'm going to the big leagues. And he was on his way too. He was on his way.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyway,
I do appreciate that. Thanks for clarifying that. When I did meet you though, I was like, man, this guy's already been around for a couple of years. Like, man, he's probably like salty being down here. And you weren't though, because you were like the funniest guy in the world. And we ended up being like throwing partners, which if you really dig into like baseball and you like understand like what happens, like we're not showing up at the field at like 6 for a 7 o'clock game. We're showing up at the field at like noon.
Sure.
Yep. Now you're also waking up at like 11:50. So
yeah.
So,
but you're going to bed like at 2 a.m. Well, I was anyway.
No, like later than that. I mean, you're going to bed at like 4.
Maybe when the sun comes up.
Exactly. The sun was rising many times. So I meet McKeller and I'm like, okay, we're throwing partners. Now, like we both just threw. The one thing about throwing partners is you get matched up with some of the Latino guys. They throw absolute missiles from like 45 feet, and they're skipping the ball. They're hitting your shin. Sergio, yeah, Serge was like that. A lot of people.
Paulino, remember Paulino?
Paulino used to throw pellets. Oh
my God. Paulino was on a mission to let people know how hard he threw.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I'm your throwing partner. You don't have to throw 100 at me. Right.
That's right. I'm also a pitcher.
It was even more hilarious. He threw like 100 miles an hour, but he would get fucking ripped.
He did. He threw a light fastball, very light fastball. Absolutely. Light fastball. You and I have talked enough shit about him before in the dugout.
Oh God, yeah. I hope he's out there somewhere and he's probably like fucking these guys, because he made it to the big leagues and we didn't. So like he basically won.
He did.
He won.
Yeah. We'd have to translate this for him though. I'm not sure how many words he understood. Yeah. Paulino though threw the softest 100 miles an hour in the world. world, but he did throw 100. He did get the big leagues. He did have Scott Boras as an agent too, though. That helped.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course he did.
All those guys did.
So we're throwing partners. So you end up building a great relationship there, and like we ended up actually living together in Tri-City.
Same room.
It was very odd. It was very odd. There was a lot that happened in there.
One bed.
Not one bed. Not one bed. We used to lay there. And we used to listen to like Dashboard Confession.
Oh yeah.
Hands down, this is the best day.
Hands down, this is the best day.
Like, sorry. I think that was one of our biggest bonds, is that we both like weird alternative music.
That's true.
And Tip was really into grunge, and I was into like emo. I loved like crying all the time. And Tip was like, "Oh man, I love the Rooster, whatever." It's like his favorite song. And I'm like, dude, this guy's really cool.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it happened. Do you remember? I do have one story about that apartment. It's not the one that you think that I'm going to say. That one stays under wraps. But
yeah, that's a wraps.
Yeah. Do you have?
You both know what that story is.
Yes,
right?
we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no shame there. There's no shame there.
No shame.
Right.
That's past our prime after dark.
But
that's
some things are out of bounds.
Yeah. So we had. Do you remember when we used to have the pellet gun fights in the apartment?
Oh God! Oh, with Cliff Davis. Remember Cliff?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've talked to Dan about Cliff, because Cliff was like maybe one of the best quarterbacks to come out of the country at that time, but he played baseball instead.
Well, there was a few guys that were like legit quarterbacks.
Yeah, Barthmeyer,
Cliff,
Billy Hart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we've talked about them all.
Dude, I remember watching those guys throw a football like during practice, and I was like, "What the fuck are these guys doing playing baseball? Like, what are you doing?"
Well, all of them had bona fide blue chip D1 offers at LSU, 100%. Ole Miss,
and they were
USC.
athletic. Like they could run.
Yeah.
They were built really well. Yeah. I think Barthmeyer and Davis were like 6'5", just like muscular.
Everyone was animals.
But yeah, Cliff was a nut job though. He was
absolutely
crazy.
Nuts. So we get these airsoft guns. I don't know who started this. Who knows?
It was probably
Cavers.
Cliff.
Might have been Cliff.
Oh, it could have been Cavers.
Yeah, he was nuts. So we set up, literally, we had this apartment, like a 4-bedroom, but we had 8 guys in it. We had 2 people in a room and all these. So we set up this apartment, and we make the common area in the kitchen and the dining room literally an obstacle course. And we wore goggles. And we just played full-fledged airsoft with like unlimited rounds, like those huge jugs of airsoft things with the automatic weapons. Yeah. And no shirt. Shirts off. And it was on. And so we'd get out of a game at 11:30, hit the spread, come home, 12:30. There's regular people that live in these apartments too. We're having a full-fledged airsoft war.
Oh yeah. Now that I think about it, I felt terrible for the people that lived around me.
Yeah, you just thought about that.
And these weapons too, like they would leave holes in the wall. Like they were so strong. So Cliff Davis one night, you remember this, McKeller. I have a picture somewhere of this and I have to find it. Cliff Davis one night stands against the refrigerator, no shirt on, puts his arms out, like back is facing everybody, and he says, "Everyone fill up your guns." He goes, "I want you to shoot until you can't shoot anymore against my back."
Yeah.
We pumped him with probably 3,000 rounds of airsoft.
Oh, it was, yeah.
His back looked like, I can't explain. It was unbelievable what his back looked like.
It looked like he had a disease the next day. Like it looked like he had Ebola.
Yeah, it was it was like a black and blue tattoo, but it was all little tiny airsoft dots all over his entire back. And like it couldn't have felt well.
Did he say anything while he was getting shot?
No, he just stood there like an animal.
Was there pain? Could you tell there was pain?
Well, there was pain, but he was a Mississippi from the riverbanks animal. So
that was his goal, was to show us how tough he was all the time. Mm-hmm. Like he always wanted to wrestle. Yep. And he always talked about getting in fights back in Mississippi.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the best guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
But like what you would think about from small town Mississippi, that was Cliff.
Exactly.
So if you go to a bar, you want that guy with you.
Oh God, yeah.
Absolutely. Every single time. Yeah. You want that guy.
That's the guy you want. Exactly right. And
awesome.
Some of your other buddies too you want too on your team, including you. I would take you all day.
How long till one of you cries?
No, we might cry on this.
Someone's going to cry.
I'm always crying on the inside.
If we start getting into some music, we'll probably
Apparently,
cry.
Tip only cries around Mickey.
Oh, I know. I have cried around Mickey twice. I was with
loves
Mickey.
Mickey.
Yeah, I was with Mickey when I got released, so that was one. And then when he threw me through a fire extinguisher glass thing in Vegas, and I let it rip that night too. So he's two times.
So Tip and I feel like we were, I want to say like best friends early on.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely one of the guys that I will remember for the rest of my life is Tip. Sergio and a couple other guys, but whenever Tip and I were together, we were best friends. I think for a couple, maybe 2-3 solid years there, Tip and I were very, very close.
We got split up. We got split up.
We got split up, yeah, but we ended up getting split up when I was. What happened? Did I get like another DUI? How many DUIs did I get?
So we'll get into that, but I think it was when they were fast tracking me to Corpus. They were fast tracking me, and then you were in Salem with Tom. Remember Tom, the clubhouse manager?
Yeah, I remember Tom. Oh God, man, you're bringing up some memories right now. Tom was he was autistic for sure.
He had something. He took care of everybody though. He was like something else. I tell you what, he was an incredible guy, but he had some stuff. It was an interesting dynamic with him.
But we played in Lexington together, and I feel like there was because I feel like we were roommates in Lexington for a little bit of a time.
We were
By choice.
That was by choice.
Right.
So we went to Lexington together, and then I got moved up after the All-Star break.
That's when I got a DUI too.
It was right before because you called me twice that evening. One time after the first time
do you want to let him tell the story? Let him tell the story.
No, so this is gonna
I want to know how the initial or just
I don't want
the first phone call.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to fly out to Maine and play golf with you guys and do this in person. But
love to. We'll still do that.
I feel like that would have been really cool. But it's the thought that counts. But yeah, so I was out real late one night, and I think I had Engelbrook's ex-girlfriend with me. Really classy lady. And we're hanging out in my room, doing whatever. And she all of a sudden is like, hey, let's go to the convenience store for whatever. So I was like, it's 4 a.m. You sure you want to go? And so I was like, whatever, that's fine. Let's go to the convenience store. And I ended up at the bottom of our apartment complex, it was a hill. And I ended up kind of rolling through the stop sign. And at 4 a.m., cops are just ready. They're ready to get people. And they pulled me over, and I was like twice the legal limit. But I'm a good drunk driver. So, it's not that big of a deal.
It wasn't that far.
Yeah, it was down the road. And anyway, so I got a DUI, and they suspended me indefinitely, right? And they sent me to, I think, extended spring training for a while. And that was, I think, where Tip and I sort of got kind of separated, and he made new friends, Josh Mickey.
Yeah.
And then, so
you didn't explain the rest of this story.
I don't know. I just kind of, sometimes I go off and I start talking.
He was hammered. He doesn't remember the rest of the story.
You went in, you called me. I was like, I don't know what I can do. I can't get you out because they wouldn't let it.
Right.
And then you called me again later because you left, and then you got picked up again. And went back to the police station. Do you remember this? you got out, and then you had to go right back in, and then you were like, "Hey," and I was like, "Dude, we're going into stretch right now. Where are you?" And you're like, "I don't think I'm gonna make it." and then that's where we got separated. So that was the beginning of the separation.
Is that 2 DUIs in 12 hours?
It was close to that. I think they might have let him off on one, but it was a long evening. I do know that for sure.
Oh man!
And I was just man. And remember Charlie Taylor? Charlie Taylor loved me in Lexington.
Yeah, he loved you. And he hated me.
I don't know why he hated you. I went up to him and I said, "Listen, I know that we're stretching. I know that we have to do this right now, but I got to go pick up my friend right now. I'm going to go get him." And he's like, "If you leave, You're going with him.
Oh God!
And I was like, okay. I mean, I'm gonna go get him. Like he's got to get here. I called you back. You didn't answer for like 2 hours, and then eventually you showed up.
I don't remember who I had come pick me up. It's
I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody did.
I think it was that guy's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been.
That's another funny story altogether.
Oh, that's
yeah.
So, where was your favorite place to go out in Lexington?
Oh, I loved
Lexington. Is that with Macker?
Macker was there for one night because of Clemens' pitches. So Dan was roommates or like knew Macker at BC.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, small world.
It is a small world, man. No, I honestly, Lexington is one of those, not to get deep or whatever, but Lexington, that period of my life is one of those things I kind of just shove into a box, and I don't really open it a lot. Because as much fun stuff happened there. It was kind of a dark time in my life. So but as far as like going out and stuff, I just remember that there was somewhere to go every single night. That's
Gambino's.
That's all I remember.
Gambino's.
Oh, yeah, that was one. That was one.
2 Keys.
I think you could pay like $10 and you could just drink whatever you want, like all night.
2 Keys was the all-time one for us.
Those were the days.
You and I went to 2 Keys a lot. That was a good time. That was a good spot.
Awesome.
There was a few.
It was a good place to play. It was beautiful because there was a big college following that would go to that stadium, and then like Thirsty Thursdays were amazing.
Yeah, it was all sororities and fraternities. The entire place.
How big is it for baseball players to play with a crowd?
I think it's great. It's just nice.
MLB, yeah, you're going to get your crowd and all that shit. But in the minors, when you're not drawing the fans, I know there's certain spots that draw at Lexington probably, on that Thursday night. But if you're playing in Podunk, whatever, with 10 fans, is that awful?
That's actually a really solid question. So let's put it this way. When you're playing in front of like the Podunk 1,000 attendees, right? Like your fastball is kind of your fastball. But when you're playing in front of like 30,000 people, you're throwing, I'd say, at least 2 to 3 miles an hour harder.
You're that much jacked up.
Yeah, you're amped. You're amped when there's a lot of fans.
You're amped. But so I always said in AAA, we would see guys throw like 89 on our gun in AAA. Mm-hmm. Right. Like the Stalker Pro. Tip remembers what that is. And then we'd see him go to the big leagues like the next day and they'd throw like 93. And there's a few variables there. Like number one, obviously, I think the baseballs are a little bit different in the major leagues. I think the guns are a little bit different in the major leagues. But the fan, like the crowd, like have you ever, like I'm sure you guys have been to a Major League Baseball game, obviously. Like if I had to pitch at Minute Maid Park, I would shit myself. It is crazy.
Yeah.
So
no, it is.
It's
loud.
You're talking about adrenaline juicing you up. And I mean, obviously I can't speak from experience, but I don't know that ever goes down.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Maybe Dan can tell us.
No, I think so. I think the difference with baseball or basketball, football, you have the helmet on, so you're kind of like, not hidden or covered up, but you're not exposed as much as you are on a pitcher's mound. You know what I mean? It's just you. Everybody's looking at just you.
Yeah, but what's different though with you is when you're at home, it's probably quiet. Right, because like the crowd's trying to stay down, but you're not being the center. When you're on the road, it must be.
But I don't. You don't give a shit about that because you're practicing noise when you're at home, so you're used to that. And it's when you come out on the stadium, they're either cheering or booing against you, and you kind of like the boos more. I mean, that gets you more fired up.
And it's so funny that you said that. I always pitch better on the road. Because I was like, you know what? These people are going to fucking hate me anyway.
Yeah,
like,
you had the chip on the shoulder. You like to shove it. You were the shove it guy.
I got nothing to lose. I want everyone to hate me even more than they do now. I was like, fuck you. You want to hate me? I'll give you a reason to hate me. So I love that, actually. That's really good. And I was going to say, you mentioned, as a pitcher, everyone's kind of looking at you. It's sort of a paradox because it can be the loneliest place in the world at times, especially when you don't have your stuff and you're just up there and you're trying to figure it out. and you have no shot. Like you're in your own head and nothing's working and you're basically dead. And all these people are looking at you, and it is a very lonely feeling.
How quickly do you know you don't have your stuff? Before you go out?
Oh, yeah. I knew
like,
real fast.
Warming up, you're like, oh, I'm screwed.
Yeah, I'd say the first inning, you have a good idea. Maybe even the first hitter.
Sometimes even in the bullpen before. You know what I mean? Like you're in the bullpen and you're just like, oh, Jesus, this isn't there today.
That DUI I did last night's not going to help me out.
Yeah, no, but like, hey, what's the, this was one of my questions for you. Did you name your pitches?
Oh, God, yeah.
But somebody, I remember this with you, but I can't remember what the names were. Do you remember?
I think I wrote them down. I thought you may ask this question. I wrote them down. Hold on.
Loopy Swoopy.
How many notes do you have?
Loopy Swoopy was not.
Oh, you got a lot of notes.
Oh, wow.
I got questions for Tip.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're ready.
And then questions for Dan.
Did we name them? Did we name them?
Oh, yeah. So, I know. I remember I had the changeup was the 2-day creeper, but you have to say it the right way. You got to go
2-day
creeper.
I remember now. I remember.
And then I remember I used to throw this curveball it was not as good as Tip's, but it was good. And I used to call it bomb, like Nagasaki bomb. I think that's what I called that one.
All right.
Hold on. This is the best one. So my fastball didn't have a name. It was just a noise.
Give us the noise.
It was just a noise, and it was like. And people would be like, "Hey, McKeller, what do you call your fastball?" And I'd go.
I love it. It
was cool. It was cool because you could be like, yeah, my fastball wasn't really like today. It was more like zoo. You could play with the noise a little bit. But yeah, the fastball that was just an onomatopoeia.
I like that. You're full of it. I mean, this is the greatest guy of all time. I'm telling you.
If there is ever something that I can be full of shit.
Yeah, I do. I love you. Ask us a question. What do you have? Do you want to go Dan first or me?
I wanted to go into a little bit of our split.
Okay. All right. Yep.
So Lexington, they're super producer.
Yeah. Let's just readjusting the cameras. We're good. Keep on rolling.
So I always, I felt like when we split, and I got the DUI, and you got moved up. That was almost when I got pretty heavily labeled, like, hey, this guy's like a troublemaker, and there was kind of like a target on my back for a lot of guys. They're like, oh, this, he gets all these opportunities. He gets to go to like the elite camp and blah, 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 but he's just this like fucking trouble guy. And I felt like that's kind of like where we moved paths, but you never treated me like that. Mm-hmm. And I always appreciated that. And I just wanted to
let's get emotional in here.
Yeah, babe. I mean,
it's friendships.
I think that's sports, right?
I mean,
that's
by
sports.
The way,
and your buddies, it doesn't matter where you are, where you come from.
Exactly.
What happens in that locker room or in that apartment, stays with you forever.
Careful, Dan.
Yeah, careful. So, you're right. You're right, because when you're talking about, I didn't care if people liked you or not. In terms of brass, right. I didn't care if a pitching coordinator liked you or not. Like, screw you, you're my buddy. Like,
but there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that, like, sort of cliquey, I think, politics that went around in the minor. I mean, when you got, I mean, hundreds of guys competing for a big league spot. It's very, it can get catty. Yep. Or at least, definitely, at the very least, it can get passive aggressive.
Yeah, that's true.
Dan, Dan, did you guys have to do that at all? Like, was there a lot of that in your locker room?
No, not in mine. There may have been some of that in other teams around. I never really experienced it, but there's always guys coming up to take your job. Regardless, unless you're Brady or something like that.
Sure.
Your spot's locked. But
well, you thought that about Drew Bledsoe.
True, but shit happens, right? I mean, the extraordinary happens sometimes, and that's one of those 1 in a million shots where a 199, takes a guy out.
Hey, speaking of, have you been watching Man in the Arena?
I saw the first 2. The third one comes out. It's good.
Isn't it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Why?
Dude, it's
But
awesome.
why are you surprised? Everything he puts his name on is going to be
Everything is good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And he seems like, sorry, I didn't mean to steer this conversation towards Tom Brady, but he seems like this sort of normal dude.
He's normal. Yeah. No,
these shows make him seem more normal lately.
I think you guys would have got along great. From your DUI days and all that. He was one of the one of the boys. He definitely was. I think when you go from where he was to superstar, I think that's a hard transition, and anybody's got to deal with that. But he's one of those guys where you could always call, like, hey, I need your help. He'll be there in a second.
What's it like having him hanging out with him in the locker room? Is he is he talking to everybody, or is he by himself a lot?
I know where he's going with these questions.
When he's there, he's working.
Okay.
But
so you've never seen him naked?
Yes, I have seen him naked.
What's that? What's he working with?
I would like to bring Castle in and bring we could have a group chat
him and
with
Castle get along really well.
Oh, you and Castle would get along great.
You can just tell by the way he walks, kind of like by his gait, that he's probably got at least an 8 inches.
He's got a hammer.
Just kind of the way he walks around, he's got a thick 8 type of gait.
How does Tip walk around?
He's probably got like a medium 7.
Yeah, I'm more of a balls guy.
So you could contract and
okay.
I know. Skill. We had a guy in our locker room that could do that.
Yeah, and plus it was 115 degrees in Corpus Christi every day. It was like
there was another guy that we played with who had a fake nut. Remember that guy?
Yes.
And
I can't remember who it was.
Everybody flick it. He let people flick it.
It would double for an eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like a good luck thing before the game. Everybody would just kind of come by and flick his nut.
Yeah. Nobody was a better shower guy than McKeller. McKeller was the ultimate after game or pre-game shower guy, using up all the soap, using up all the baby powder. Right.
I do remember, I think maybe we weren't on the same team at this point, but I do remember I got fined quite a bit for excessive nudity.
Nice.
Like I was just always naked.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, it's a locker.
By the players or the organization?
Was it Kangaroo Court?
They could fine
Kangaroo
you?
Court.
Kangaroo Court. You got dinged for excessive nudity.
They would. Now, the organization would fine me because I always grew my hair out longer than they liked.
Yes.
They'd be like Wiedenbauer would come in and he'd be like, man, McKeller, are you going to cut your hair? And then I'd be like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then when he walked away, I'd be like, fuck you, Weedy.
Hey, didn't you have to shave your face with like a razor or something? Like an actual like a leg razor or something?
As soon as I got done playing for the Astros, I grew a beard and I have not shaved since.
Yeah, you got to cover it up. Just cover it up. It works.
Yeah,
better
we used to
that
have.
way.
So I mean, nobody got their balls busted more than him for more than like 2-day growth. Like, we had to be clean shaven, but you could let it go a day or two and like have a little stubble.
They would get me every single time.
Yours,
What the hell is it? Why did they do that? I mean, the Yankees.
Well,
does Houston still do that?
Houston does that in the minor leagues. They do that in the minor leagues.
Who gives a shit?
But when you got this, when you had like again, I was labeled as kind of a trouble guy.
Yeah.
So the coaches were always just eagle-eyeing me all the time. So, but what's funny is I won Best Teammate Award in like 2004, I think.
Hey,
by the Kangaroo Court again?
Best Teammate.
I don't know, whatever. But I feel like they gave the brass did give me a lot of opportunities, but the coaches, like the managers of the teams that I played for, they all hated me. They hated me.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand that. I was kind of a douche. I get that.
Well, tell us about the Nolan Ryan thing. Because that was why a lot of guys were like, this guy gets all the
thing. Man, I forgot about that.
How did you forget about that?
I think it was in 2002 or 3. I was like 21. And maybe it was 2000. It didn't fucking matter. So it was early on, like short season A-ball. And they call me into their office and they're like, hey, we're going to fly you out to Round Rock to go work with Nolan Ryan. And I was like, why? Like, why? But they were like, we just feel like you have a lot of potential, and we feel like if you work with Nolan, he may be able to like kind of bring that out. And so they flew me out to Round Rock, which is AA at the time. And you talk about people that fucking hated my guts. Those guys.
They must have hated you.
Because I spent a full week with them playing, like not playing with them, but like I was on the team. I was in the locker room. I dressed out. Like I went out for the games. They would get mad at me for all kinds of shit. Like they didn't like when I ate the spread. And it was just a lot of salty guys that were like, who's this fucking guy? It's just, that's kind of like how my minor league experience was. It's just a bunch of people that just didn't fucking like me, which is fine. Yeah. But so I'm out there and I'm hanging out with Nolan, and he's teaching me stuff. And I had this weird, like, sort of herky-jerky style of throwing early on. It was very twisty, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw this fucking baseball as hard as I possibly can. What are the things physiologically that I need to do to absolutely just unleash, right? Mm-hmm. And I threw it hard, but I was kind of all over the place. And so when I went to go see Nolan, he was just like, what are you doing? He was like, dude, just pick your knee up. He stay close. He said, and one of the things that I've always repeated since hanging out with him is velocity happens out front. Like, I had a lot of stuff going on in my back motion, like behind me. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what are you doing? Then none of that stuff is needed. He said, all the velocity, everything that you need happens out front. You be smooth, be calm, be focused, and until you're ready to go, and let that stuff happen out in front of your body. And that was one of the biggest things that changed my career. And I think from then I moved up the ladder pretty quickly until I got my DUI. Then I had to like go through some growing pains and get in and start moving back up. But Nolan was great. He was very good at simplifying things. And I'll always remember him for that. But he was a good old country boy. Like, he just was kind of like, yes, that looks good, you know. And then he didn't really talk a whole lot, but the things that he said, you definitely listen.
Did you go to the house for dinner?
No, you know what's funny?
I did. I went there.
Tip got to go.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's really cool. No,
you didn't go there. I thought you went there. I thought you stayed there for a couple days or something.
No, I lived in Pflugerville.
Yeah,
I lived right next to the Round Rock Stadium. Like my family's house is a 10-minute drive, so I just stayed with my family. But he did he pulled $100 out of his wallet one time, and he said, "Here, take your mom out for Mother's Day." And I was like, right.
That's a lot of 25-cent drafts. That's funny.
I was like, there's no way that's happening. I need this. I needed that $100.
Have you seen him since?
Yeah.
Did he remember you?
Yes. He would remember me to this day, because I spent 2 weeks with him. And I knew his sons, Reed and Reese. Yep. And I know all of them. I still see them, because I'll take my son up to the Round Rock Express games sometimes, and they're always really nice. They always say hi. But when I first met him and when I was first working with him, you could tell that he had an interest in me. And then over the years, as I kind of I don't know, I guess I wasn't a guy anymore. He didn't really pay as much attention to me. But yeah, Tip can attest to this. If you're a guy, if you're like one of their guys, you get a lot of attention, or you get a lot of opportunity. But if you're not one of their guys, like a high round pick or just somebody that they really think is going to do well, then they're like, eh.
It also changes really fast.
Oh,
you can be a guy and then not a guy, or you can be not a guy and then a guy. Like, it happens really fast.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. I remember Chris Blazik was kind of a guy they had on the back burner. And then in Double-A, he just was like lights out.
Yep.
Blazik was Blazik.
Yeah, same draft.
He was a lefty, and he threw this fastball that was just invisible. Mm-hmm. And it was like 91, maybe 92, but he was just striking guys out all over the place. And I think he went to Arizona Fall League.
Yeah, but he never got to the big leagues though.
No,
and he was unhittable for 2 years, unhittable, but still never got a sniff, which is crazy. Yeah. By the way, how much did you juice the guns when I pitched, and how much did I juice the gun when you pitched? I juiced the shit out of the gun for you.
Hey, because the Latins would do it. The Latins would do it.
I would sit up there in the stands because I was a starter all along. We've talked about this.
How do you juice the guns? Dude, you just write it down wrong.
If he throws a 93, so if he throws a 93 mile an hour fastball, I put it down as 97. Okay. If a guy I don't like throws a 93 mile an hour fastball, I put it down as 88.
Just fuck him.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, McKellar's mode today was 99. Jesus, he's throwing hard.
Oh my God, I remember that. Yeah. Oh man, well, yeah, I think Tip probably sat like around 91, and every single pitch he threw 91, it was at least plus 2 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Tip. I don't mean to be like too deep, but when you watch Tip in Lexington, it was how do I say this without sounding too gay? It was
orgasmic.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was surgical.
It was very cool because I was back there like with the gun, and I'm watching like all these pitches, but it was very. You could tell that he was on his way to doing some good things because he was like in and out with this like heavy sinker, and he had this curveball that he could go in and out with. And I don't remember much about your changeup. I think that was your third pitch, but it was a league where if you could throw an off-speed pitch and a fastball count, then you would dominate. Mm-hmm. And Tip had that down, and it was like 7 innings, no runs, like maybe 1 hit, like just for like 2 months in a row. I think you did that. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching, and I was like, dude, this fucking guy is good. But yeah, it was great. It was really cool to see. I think, you know what? I think you started the pass the hat for pitchers.
That's right.
That's right. There was a pass the hat for home run. Guys would hit home runs, and we would pass a hat or whatever. But then our team wasn't really that good, and so we were like, we never passed the hat. But then we were like, hey, but Tip throws like 7 innings, no runs every night. Can we pass the hat for him?
Yeah. So every time you pass the hat, if you threw 7 innings, you pass the hat, you get to keep the cash.
Oh, nice.
Hey, you know what's funny? We talked about this story, and I want you to tell it right now. When you were in Lexington in the Maker's Mark Club, when you were supposed to be charting.
Oh, God.
That was an all-time mistake by you. that was pre you getting in trouble,
one
too.
One of those things that I put into the box. But you know what people don't realize about that story is that nobody knows the details of it. They're all like, oh, fucking McKeller, he was up in the Maker's Mark Club drinking a beer. Which, yes, I was, but it was one of those games where it was like sold out, packed, right? And we were supposed to sit kind of behind the plate in the middle of the bleachers. And so I'm 6'5", and these bleachers are made for tiny people, like 5'8", whatever. Bud would fit in there perfectly. So
we'll bring him on eventually. I knew you were going to go down that path.
But so I was in there, and I'm sitting in my seat, and there's people all around me, and I'm already getting claustrophobic. And there's this lady like right in front of me that has the strongest and most disgusting perfume that I have ever smelled in my life. And I'm sitting there, and I'm wearing it for a solid 3 innings. I'm wearing it, and I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, and I'm writing down stuff. I'm doing my best. All right. I legitimately gave it my best shot of staying in that area. And then finally I was like, fuck this. The game is on in the Maker's Mark Club, and they have it right behind. They have it right behind home, like from center field. So you can see the guys, what they're throwing. And I'm like, fuck it. I can probably tell what they're throwing without the radar gun. I don't need it, right? And then, and then I can pencil whip whatever I want. So I'm just up there and I'm sitting down and I'm watching the game. And I think at this point, Ryan Thompson is pitching, which is the worst person you want to watch from center field because you cannot tell what he's
immediate
throwing.
Gun checker too. The second the game was over, he wanted to see the chart.
Oh, really?
I want to know how
it's the most difficult guy to tell what he's throwing because everything looks the exact same.
Yeah.
It's like, was that a fastball or a changeup or who fucking knows? But so I'm sitting there and I'm doing the thing and I'm doing okay. I'm doing my best, right? And I look over and I see this guy eating a cheeseburger. I'm like, oh my God, that looks amazing. So I'm like, hey, bartender, can I get one of those cheeseburgers? I'm like, no, that one right there, whatever he's got, I want that. And so now I'm doing the chart, and by this point I'm like, it's Thompson. Like, who fucking cares? He's gonna get released anyway. So I'm like, I'm eating my cheeseburger, and then I look over to my left, and there's this person drinking a cold, ice cold beer, and I'm like, oh my God, that looks amazing. So I ordered a beer, and I had the beer, and I don't even think I took a sip yet, but I put it next to me, and I had, I'm like halfway done with my cheeseburger, and I go to take another bite, and there's this like head guy that had come in from the crowd to get on his phone. I don't remember who it was, but he's like one of the top scouts, like brass. Yeah. And I'm like mid chew of my hamburger, and he looks right at me, and I look right at him, and I'm like, oh fuck! And I just knew. I knew I was screwed because the next day they told me that I was going down to Tri-City.
And by the way, there's nothing about that story that anybody tells that's untrue. It's exactly how people tell it. You're like, hey, the story gets fabricated. No, it doesn't. You had a beer and a burger while the game was going on.
They leave out the extenuating circumstances as to why I moved up to the Maker's Mark.
All right, I got you.
You were actually looking out for the fans and giving them a better experience.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
See, I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Yeah,
But, they always leave out the circumstances leading up to that moment. But in retrospect, being sent down was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because playing in Lexington can become overwhelming if you're not ready for it. And I was not ready for it. So.
Yep. What's on that sheet? What do you have for a question there? I'm actually nervous. I mean, you need to ask Dan one.
Well, my first thing is, how are your wife and kids? How are they doing?
They're good. How are yours? Are you asking me or Dan?
Mine are great too.
Well, I'm asking you.
All of ours are great. So
Gracie, Raina, and I think Ellie.
Yeah, look at your stats. Look at you.
And how's Wild Bill doing?
He's gonna friggin' die watching this episode. He's gonna love this one because he loved you.
One of my favorite dads that I ever met was Wild Bill.
I like how you call him Wild. He's a nickname guy too.
Yeah, Wild Bill.
Everyone's good.
But yeah, and then we talked about Tom Brady's dick size.
Is there anything else on that list? Is that all you wrote down? Those notes were from work today. Those weren't questions.
It just says Tom Brady dick size in like
circle
question marks on it.
Yeah. You didn't get a real answer.
Who's better at golf between you guys?
It's me right now. He plays pretty well though. Are you good?
It's him now.
Do you play golf now? Are you a golfer now?
I love golf.
All right.
I love it.
You never used to be.
Love it.
So now you're coming up.
No, I started playing when I went to college. Like at 30 years old, I started playing.
So you love it. You're in business now. We're not gonna.
If you made it to the majors, you would have started earlier.
That's probably true.
Probably.
Yeah,
that's true. But I think you guys know this. It's one of those things where you compete against yourself, which I love that. Who is your favorite person to pitch to?
Oh, favorite person to pitch to? Boy, there were some guys that I could get out. Like a guy that was good or a guy that I could get out all the time. I mean, it was literally anybody in Lexington. I don't mean to be a jerk.
Your favorite catcher.
Oh, favorite catcher. Oh, so Tolles was mine.
Oh God. God.
Don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, he was great for me. And then Santangelo was good after.
Yeah, he was a good catcher. Tolles was a good catcher.
Who did you like to pitch to?
I liked Lou.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. But the reason why I liked Lou is because he had that perfect mix of like He knew when I was flustered, so he would kind of give me some compliments.
Yep.
But he also wouldn't he would also be truthful with me and he'd be like, "Hey, you fucking suck today."
Yep.
So it was
because he was from Jersey, right? He was just like a tough Jersey boy or something.
Is that what they're saying when they come out to the mound?
He wasn't a bullshit guy. But yeah, where was your favorite place to pitch?
Lexington all day.
Yeah. All day.
Probably Frisco too. I love going to Frisco. Frisco is always fun.
Oh, Frisco was cool. Yeah,
Frisco is cool. Good. Where was Dan?
Where was your favorite place to play?
Denver.
Okay.
Really? Wonder why?
Even home and away. When I played with Denver, loved it. The fans were great there, but even going there was just a cool stadium to go to.
That's cool. I remember the high elevation. That didn't mess with you at all?
It does over a long period of time. So if you're the best way to do it if you're an away team is to go in and out quick. You don't go to extended. The more days you stay there, I guess the altitude will affect you more. So if you're going to stay there for a few days, it's going to take a week or two to get adjusted.
I gotcha.
But you go quick, you're all right.
Sorry.
No, you're good. What else you got? Fire away.
So I wanted to talk to Tip about sort of a philosophical thing. Squad Locker it does youth sports, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Are we going to serious path or is this a joke? Yes, youth sports.
I mean, it always kind of starts serious, but then it ends up.
I'm ready.
Youth sports. You guys don't coach though, do you?
No, all apparel. We make life easier for the coaches and for the admins.
Okay, so if you were to coach, let's say you're coaching a 14-year-old.
Yep.
Would you teach him or her, a slider or a curveball?
Curveball.
Why?
So I think that you can throw a curveball without actually getting hurt, and
but you threw a curveball.
I know, but with the correct mechanics. I think what happened with me, I think what ended up happening, it wasn't a curveball that got me hurt. It was I was messing around in the bullpen one day with this stupid changeup, and something happened. I was doing this knuckle thing. Curveball, right here, pulling down the window shade. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
There's no twist there at all. It's just you're pulling it down over the top of the fingers. Let it roll.
You remember there was this interview recently or this past season with Tyler Glasnow?
Yeah.
Glasnow?
Yep.
And he was saying that he was talking about the stickiness on the baseball.
We got it right here. We got spider tack up top.
He's actually talking about the baseball.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And he was saying that since he was not able to use the the spider tack, he had to grip his curveball deeper, and he feels that's what kind of popped his elbow. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that, and I used to throw a curveball as well. And the most that my elbow ever hurt was after I threw a lot of curveballs. Mm-hmm. And it did make sense to me because when you grip a curveball, there is a lot more of your forearm that goes into that. Mm-hmm. Versus a slider. And I was thinking man, you know what? There may be something to that. And there's a lot of guys I'm thinking, I've just started going through in my head, guys that throw big, hard curveballs that end up having elbow problems. And so anyway, I just wanted
it's not how our arm is supposed to move. Anyway, I also, though, think that I threw a really hard, heavy sinker with a ton of pronation, right?
Yeah, you did.
That probably had something to do with it. You know what I mean?
Point.
There was a lot of pronation on my release. There's pictures there's pictures where I'm actually throwing a punch like this, even all the way here. It's crazy.
You guys want to get your own room?
Yeah, we do. Well, you need to leave anyway. You need to leave, and then I'll continue with McKeller. Right? Dan's got a really heavy schedule today.
Pick up the kids at some point.
I'm done.
No, I'm not done with you. You're staying on with me. He's going in a minute. You leave and you need to leave. We'll keep covering it.
Get the fuck out of here. Nobody invited you anyway.
I do have a couple other questions about. I have some pictures that we're going to post from this. They're all clean. They're good. That you're wearing some Affliction.
Oh, those were the days.
T-shirts.
Oh God. God.
I can't even tell you how much my wife made fun of me when she found a couple of those in my dresser.
I've got some good ones that you had on, buddy.
Those were so horrendous.
It was a phase, though. Right?
It was a complete phase.
It was a phase, Mom. Isn't that a thing?
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. But those were awful.
They were really bad, and I have some good ones of you in some incredible Affliction shirts. That's for sure. I don't know if I put anything else. Were you on the bus when our pitching coach fell off on his face, or were you somewhere else at that time? You weren't there for that one? Okay, that's a different story.
I was most of the time drunk on the bus trip. So.
Okay, good. Give us one. Is Evan Engelbrook somewhere alive? Who's talked to him most recently? Everybody's tried to. Nobody has talked to him. Where is he?
Is this the guy that's just jacked out of his mind?
Drago,
yeah. So one time I raced him. Did you know that in a swimming pool?
You didn't beat him.
It was a full. We were at some hotel with a full-size Olympic swimming pool, and he let me have half of a pool of a head start.
Yeah.
And I was like, Engelbrook, you fucking idiot. I'm going to kill you. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I bet him like something crazy. Right. And I go and he beat me by like 5 lengths, body lengths.
No, he
was an amazing swimmer.
Just didn't believe it.
Everybody has said that about him. Going on. He also was just, like he was out until 5 a.m. every night.
So the funniest thing I thought about Engelbrook is that you could get him to eat anything. Mm-hmm. You could get him to eat. So we would constantly bet him how many Chipotle burritos that he could eat.
Yep.
And I think he got up to like 4 at one point. But I wrote this story down actually. There was a time in it was in the Sally League. We played this team. It was green and they had an L. You remember that team?
Greensboro?
No,
or
maybe it was Salem.
Oh, it was probably it might have been Augusta Green Jackets too, or Lynchburg.
It could have been. Okay, one of those teams. And the clubhouse guy afterwards always had spaghetti. And it was the driest, shittiest fucking spaghetti. He had two full fucking pan sizes of it. I'm talking about cafeteria economy size pans. When it seemed like he put one jar of spaghetti sauce in both pans, right? It is the driest, just the most disgusting, maybe 1 pound of meat at total. It's just basically noodles, right? And nobody ate it. Everybody hated it. But one day, I think we dared Engelbrook to eat the whole, both pans. And he sat there and he started on it, and people are on the bus, ready to go. And Engelbrook is still in the clubhouse eating both pans. And he's getting through it. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? And everybody's like, Engelbrook's in the clubhouse. He's eating the spaghetti. And fucking miraculous situation where he actually makes it through both pans, right? He gets through both pans. Dan, I'm not exaggerating. This is full, big pans, 2 of them. And on the way home, he finally gets on the bus and he's just struggling. He's struggling, right? And he gets on the bus, and on the way home, he stands up. He stands up and he goes, I can't do it anymore.
No, he didn't.
Projectile vomit. I'm telling you, at least 5 guys get throw up all over them. It was one of those things where one person throws up and then another person throws up, and it's everybody's oh my god. It was all over the bus. But he got that shit down. He got it down.
Unbelievable.
And that was his thing. He just liked to eat. He liked to eat. Anything you wanted to challenge Engelbrook to do, he would do it.
I can't hold it anymore.
He challenged a lot.
I can't hold it anymore.
Have you heard from him? Have you heard from him in a while? I need to have him on.
Nobody knows what he's doing. Last time I checked, he was a physical trainer.
Okay, all right. So he's out
back
there.
up in Pennsylvania somewhere.
It's like in Varsity Blues when he's just you gonna call some dinosaurs?
Oh yeah.
I reckon I give him a holler.
Yeah, exactly.
You can rally. But he was another good teammate, another good clubhouse guy.
Absolutely. Hey, I could talk to you for about a month.
We're gonna have to bring you back on.
Yeah, I mean, you got to come up here and do it live.
Yeah,
do it live with us.
Let's do it live.
Does that work?
We can play golf though, right?
We can do whatever you want. It might be tough to play golf right now. It's 20 out, but we can do it.
Oh God, I forgot that you guys.
Yeah, we'll come to you. Maybe we'll come to you. We're living in Rhode Island, but we'll come to you.
It's close enough.
Okay. I'm gonna call you right after this episode because I have some other things to discuss with you, and I miss you. But we have been. I mean, you have been.
This is a start of a new.
Yeah,
a new era.
You could be another You could be another host with us. We
Fine.
can bring him on. By the way, who do we need to bring on? Pick one person.
I don't know.
Who don't you like?
You got all the guys. You got Davidson.
Who don't you like? Who don't you like?
Oh, who do I not like?
Who doesn't like you? Who doesn't like you?
Oh, that might be a better way to say it. Who doesn't like you?
You know who hates me? I think is Philip Barzilla.
Okay. Do we want to get him on Barzilla? What a name to pull out right now. Should we just find him? I can do that. I
just remember getting into it with him in the clubhouse one time. He was like, McKeller, why are you always joking around? And I was like, why are you such a bitch?
All right, we'll find him and bring him on.
Hold on, time out. One more story. Sergio forgot to mention this.
Okay.
One time during stretch, and this was like a spring training, 8 a.m. stretch, and I've been drinking all night. I was hammered, right? I show up to the field, like I went to bed at 6 a.m. and had to be there by 8 a.m. And I show up and I'm just completely hungover, still drunk, and I took a shit in my sliders, like while we were doing stretch. I shit all over them. But it was like beer shits, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a full on turd.
No, it was a fart that turned into a big shit in your pants.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm just stretching in it. I'm just like, oh God, this is awful. And I can smell it. And I'm just like, oh God. And so as soon as we get through with stretch, there's like a little bit of a break before we go to like our stations or whatever. So I run to the locker room and I'm like, okay, well, let me get these off. And I hung them up in Sergio's locker.
Yes. Oh, unbelievable.
But I turned them inside out so you couldn't really see all the poop. You know what I mean? And I hung it such that it was in the middle of his other clothes. So like he couldn't tell unless he like grabbed him and was like, "What is this?"
Oh God,
unbelievable! That's a good prank.
That's the perfect one to end on.
And I think that's when Barzilla got mad at me.
Oh God! All right, well, we'll bring you on another time to talk more pranks. But I mean, you were one of the most highly regarded guests that people wanted to bring on from my crew.
To end on a poop story is the best.
Oh, the fact you ended on a poop story.
It's like George Costanza. Leave on a high note. I'm done.
Gotta have the poop.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope you finish that bourbon. I miss you. We're gonna talk music soon, and we'll have you on again.
Let's do it. Yeah, Dan, it was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, buddy. Thanks for coming.
Be a group text.
We're gonna play some golf soon.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Later, McKeller. See you, bud.
Later, dude.
See ya.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.